A flag bearer of the Movement for Change, Alan Kwejo has come under intense criticism for asking Ghanaians to vote for him because he is a Christian. In times past, the governing NPP, Dr. Bawumia, and opposition NDC's John Mahama have also been criticized for comments made while canvassing for votes. How do these comments affect their chances of winning elections? Let's hear from Professor Kobby Mensah, a political marketing strategist at the University of Ghana Business School, and Musa Dankwa, who is Executive Director of Global Info Analytics. They both spoke on Joy News Desk.
So extensively, what we find is that in the consciousness of the Ghanaian voters, and the politicians know, are the identities that actually push them to the electoral ballot. And so you would ask yourself extensively, why would Alan actually make that particular comment? We have seen videos that actually show that Bawumia had actually emphatically stated that he's been selected because he was a Muslim, and therefore he's represented the Muslim. And that is when he had gone to the north, speaking to the people that they cannot say that he's representing himself, but he's representing the people of the Muslim faith. So the extensive understanding is that identity politics is part of our political discourse. There is nothing wrong with it. However, you would actually say that you want to find a much more nuanced way of presenting, that would perhaps sound much more comfortable with quite a lot of people, what we call political correctness. But I think that, especially for the NPP campaign, I have always said that from 2016, that was a watershed moment. Quite a lot of name calling was used for political opponents, some very unpalatable, some even in the glare of the media, but they didn't find anything wrong with it. Currently, now it looks like the tide has turned, and they are finding a lot more problems with this kind of identity politics, with this kind of tribal sentiment, etc. They should actually reflect and ask themselves, how have we come here? Even the basis why Bawumia must be selected was because of that. They kept on saying it, that if they don't use Bawumia, people might think that they have used and done. And I keep saying, at what point did we think that you have to have a certain South-North balance on the ticket before you win the election? Because NDC had won election with South-South ticket and never had made that argument of having a certain balance of religion, a certain balance of North and South Poles. That argument hadn't actually come up in their camp. Yet we find continuously NPP pushing into the national consciousness of a certain polarized position just to win the election.
But I can say that when it comes to religion, it's going to be a saddle point for the next election in December, because the poll will, I think January poll, about 24% of voters said that religion may play a role in who they choose as a president. We've seen a reduction in that number in the current poll, which we publish next week. So there is still about 15% of voters who believe that the religion of the candidates will play a role, both on the Christian side and on the Muslim side. There are some Muslims who are voting for Bawumia because he's a Muslim, and some Christians who are going to vote for Muhammad and Alan because they're Christians. So those will play a role going forward, no doubt about it.
And listening to Professor Kobby Mensah, he talked about, this identity card relating to tribal cards and all of that. What role does that also play, the regional balance?
It will play a role. I think this is going to be the first election that those two issues will play a role. Because for the MPP, it is the first time they've had a northern candidate run on as a lead candidate on the ticket. And there are people in the South that we know, but we are against ourselves. We know what they say about Northern sometimes. And these are facts, but we don't kind of admit them in public. So you can see some of those people who are not comfortable with the North may gravitate towards Alan Martin and other candidates in the race. So this will play a role. But as to the extent to which it will have major impact, we're yet to assess that through exit poll.